we go. All right. Take 10 minutes. Hey, everyone. I hope you're all having a nice day. Welcome to the Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today, we're talking about how committed are you to losing weight? It's nice sometimes to take a step back and kind of quantify where your commitment's at, because a lot of people assume they're really committed to some level, a lot more committed than they actually are. And they're not. So their commitment level is actually down here, but they think it's kind of up here. And it causes all kinds of problems because they think they're way committed up here, but they're not getting any results. And so what happens is in their mind, they start thinking, well, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight, which is one of the most powerless things you could ever think. And by the way, it's very rarely true. People that say that they've done everything they can to lose weight and can't lose weight are usually doing the wrong things or are not doing enough. So how committed are you to losing weight and getting a real sense of where you're at with that? Because most likely what you're going to find is you're not really that committed to it. You think about it a lot all the time, but you're not really committed to actually changing it. Now, this is where I'm going to diverge from your thinking, because you probably realize you're not as committed as you should be or want to be, and you blame yourself for it because your idea of commitment is forcing yourself to do the things you don't want to do so that you can lose weight. And I think that's the wrong framing of it. I think it's the wrong way to think about it. I think commitment should be seen as something that is relative to what we're asking of ourselves. So if your idea of weight loss is doing something extreme like a keto plan, where you're going to jump right into a keto plan or stop eating for 16 hours or only eat 1,000 calories a day, something extreme. If you're going to jump into something extreme, yeah, your commitment's going to be lower because it's a lot harder. So we can't just look at commitment in a vacuum. Your commitment is relative to what you're expecting you need to do. So if I told you, actually, you can lose weight without having to do any of that extreme shit, you could start making slow strategic shifts in your mindset, your lifestyle, and your eating that were comfortable, that were easy, that were sustainable, and you will lose weight. Well, if you believed that, you'd probably find that your commitment might be higher. You say, I could do that. That doesn't sound that difficult. So again, the reason you're not committed is not because you're a bad person. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you have no self-control or willpower. It's usually primarily because how you think about losing weight is ridiculous. Dieting is ridiculous, folks. The idea that you're going to jump into a completely different way of being in one day and then maintain that is silly. So we have to change the way we think we're going to do it. And I think you will find immediately that your motivation and your commitment level go up. Now, the other piece that makes your commitment level go up is reframing what you're after here. Now, most people with weight loss think about their weight loss goal in terms of a number. Right? There's one number you got in your mind, and that's what you're aiming at. And you're here, and the number's way over here. And so it feels far away. And so part of you is feeling like I'm never going to get there. And that gap, that gulf makes you feel less committed because you feel like, I don't even know if I can do this. So again, the two big things affecting your commitment are what you think you have to do and what you think you're going to get out of it and when. And most people think about their weight loss goal way in the future. And on top of it being way in the future, it's also an arbitrary number that doesn't mean a lot to them. And so when you start to transform the meaning of your goal weight into emotions and feelings, what happens is you move that goal way closer to you, because all the emotions and feelings that you want to get from getting to your goal weight, you can experience almost all of them today, right now, by making better choices. And yes, as you move towards your goal weight, you will experience those emotions on a higher and higher level. But you can feel all the things you want right now. And so when all of a sudden, when you start to realize the method you can use to achieve your success can be more comfortable, easy, maintainable, and that the goal you're after can be experienced immediately on your path to reach the ultimate destination you want to get to, all of a sudden you may find that your commitment level starts to naturally go up. So again, this isn't all the answers, but it's a starting point for you to reflect on your commitment, because if you're not committed, you'll never get the results. And the secret to becoming more committed is not just to force yourself to do something. That's fighting against yourself. That doesn't last long. The secret is to redefine what the goal is, to understand the emotions, and to redefine how you're going to accomplish it. That's the path to becoming more committed. And if you want support in walking this path and support in becoming more committed, click the link in my bio, go get the free hypnosis session I give you, watch the video I made for you, read the emails I send. They're all free. And I will help you with a different way to master your weight once and for all. So I hope this helps you out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. We started a little rocky there. Things are not starting smoothly, but we're smooth now. Tiara says, I fear losing weight due to the fear of the loose skin. Yes, very common. Okay. So the first thing is I want you to realize that's very normal and is probably a big part of the reason why you're probably not losing weight. A lot of people, ironically, especially women, as much as you think about weight loss, subconsciously, you don't want to lose weight because you fear it or have some fear or some worry that's preventing you. And fear of loose skin is a really common one. So what do you do with that? I think the secret is to realize that you've always got a choice. You can certainly stay at the same weight so that your skin doesn't get loose. And that's an option you have. And if that's the option you want to take it. You're free to decide whatever weight you want to be at. Our freedom to choose what weight we want to live at is one of our most profound freedoms in life. So on one side, you have being overweight, having more taut skin. On the other hand, you may have being at a lower weight with skin that might be looser. What I would suggest is step into each of those realities, because the loose skin sometimes just becomes the primary thing you think about losing weight. So you may overlook the impact that being at a lower weight would have on your health, your energy, your mobility, your physical comfort, your longevity, your emotional state, your ability to move comfortably, your mindset, how you look in your clothes, how you look in pictures, how you feel about yourself, how you define yourself, the accomplishment that you feel if you accomplish that, if you did get down to your goal weight. And then, in that situation, you may have some looser skin. But a lot of times I will let you know with the loose skin, the people I've talked to, now again, I'm an outlier because I talk to people that are pretty happy with their results, but more often than not, they absorb the loose skin thing relatively easily because of all the other benefits that they get. And the more often than not, what I hear is that the loose skin is less of an issue than they thought it would be, because A, it's not as bad as they thought it would be A. And then B, they have told me multiple times, I've heard people say, the truth is that I'm wear clothes 99% of the time. And when my clothes on, you really can't even tell. And I feel more confident in my clothes. I feel like I look better. I feel better. And then there's the health benefits where I feel a lot better. It's easier to move. My joints feel better. I have more energy. I accomplished something big. I'm nourishing my body. I'm living healthier. So again, it's important not to just focus when we think about our weight, not just this visual goal, but to give the goal weight more meaning, which a little tease, I did the first training yesterday for the new goal weight training. So it's in the book. So that's going to be done this week. So if you would like help choosing your goal weight, which you better want because your goal weight probably sucks, just to let you know, it's almost guaranteed your goal weight sucks in the terms that it's not motivating to you. It's not really inspiring to you. I can almost guarantee you this. I've spent the last 4 or 5 months obsessing on goal weight, and I've been doing this for over 20 years professionally. But I stumbled upon something. So again, that's in the training. It's completely free too, by the way. This is my gift to you. I think the very first step of weight mastery, weight loss, is choosing a goal weight that really inspires and motivates you. And the way that you get inspired and motivated is you have a goal that's meaningful. And I think right now, a lot of you walking around with a goal weight that is not meaningful to you. And if you really explored it, you'd find out that your goal weight actually is linked to pain and stress and frustration and negative shit. So I will help you change all that, but you got to be on my email list. So make sure you go get the free hypnosis session, watch the video, check that shit out. Karen says this is an important insight. Yes. When I was talking about the commitment, yes, commitment's crucial. You need to be committed. And, most dieters aren't committed at all. They're very little committed. Even when you commit to your diet, I know it feels like a lot of commitment, but it's not. It's just excitement for a few moments. Commitment is like how you got through college. Commitment's how you get through your job when you're into it for 10 years. Commitment's a much deeper thing. And when you're truly committed, it actually makes everything else a lot easier. So Karen says, I want to lose a lot of weight as I am going to dedicate the rest of this year to this goal, but it's been years of losing and putting on the same 5 to 7 kilograms. What can I do differently this year? Now, that is such a great question because the problem is just screaming out at me. And those of you that regularly listen probably already heard it. I'll read it one more time. And Kieran, listen if you can hear. I want to lose a lot of weight as I am going to dedicate the rest of this year to this goal. What can I do differently this year? Why would you just want to lose weight this year? Why would you only dedicate this year to it? That gives you what? 8 months? And then as soon as January 1st comes, that's it, done. I got what I got. Now I'm kind of teasing you a little bit, but this is a perfect example of how dieting mindset fucks us up, right? It makes these weird ass time frames that make no sense. Let me put it in a different context. I want to learn how to play the piano, and I'm going to dedicate the rest of this year to playing the piano. What can I do differently this year to play the piano? I haven't played it in the past. Huh? You see what I'm saying? Like in a different context, it sounds kind of weird. I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to learning martial arts. I'm going to dedicate this year to learning martial arts. I'm going to dedicate the rest of this year to learning how to paint. Well, what happens in January? You may say, okay, Jim, you know what she means. No, because your subconscious is very literal. And this is the core problem of a diet mindset, is that you think of it as temporary. So the question becomes, I'm going to dedicate the rest of this year to losing weight. But how can I skip what's happened the last number of years while I lose weight and then put it back on? How about you say I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to living at my goal weight? Doesn't that feel different immediately? Because if this really matters to you, if it's really important, if you're really committed, if you're really dedicated, wouldn't you have to dedicate more than 8 months to something? Think about things in your life. I'm going to dedicate the next 8 months, the rest of this year, to being a great parent. I'm going to dedicate the rest of this year to being a great husband or wife. It feels weird to say that in a different context, doesn't it? It just screams the question, well, what happens at the end of the year? And this is what I'm trying to say, is in a diet mindset, you think of it as a temporary thing you're going to do to lose the weight. And then you say, so this is what all dieters do. You think of it as I'm going to change my eating until I lose the weight. Well, then what? Well, then I'll figure out the maintenance. Why would you? Why would you just figure out the maintenance? You won't. So it is this temporary mindset that is the core cause of why you lose weight and then put it back on. Because already within your question, you're already anticipating January comes and what? You dedicated the rest of this year to it, but then what's 2026 bring? So be more specific. And again, I would suggest if you want to do something differently this year and beyond, because of course you want to keep the weight off forever, right? And so how can I live 5 to 7 kilograms lighter for the rest of my life? That's the question. And that's the one that's probably going to get you much better results. So I hope that helps out. But yeah, if y'all got any questions, feel free to ask them. Gustav says, good evening, weight loss master Jim. Thank you. Kieran says, I agree, but I look at my big weight as a mountain that I want to climb because it feels so huge to me. Like you said, the goal weight is terrible in our minds. Yeah, Kieran. Oh, please, goodness gracious, please go get the hypnosis session and get on my email list because you're gonna love the goal weight training I'm doing. It is profound. I don't like to sit here and have delusions of grandeur in front of you all, but I think I really hit on something profound. I really do. I think the whole program's profound. You all know that. I take the no bullshit oath, which includes me being very honest about how amazing I think I am at this and how amazing the program is. So again, I'm not going to falsely be humble. Um, but please, Kieran, I can already see your mindset reveals itself to me, and nothing's going to work for you until we kind of straighten the mindset out. And I'm able to help you do that for free. And if you like that stuff, again, I have a program I can work with you. That's always an option, but I'm happy to help you for free as well, folks. This is my mission in life. Um, but yeah, but again, how all of you, right? Have you ever looked at your weight as your weight as a giant mountain that you want to climb because it feels huge to you? Right? So you're already anticipating, you're expecting that it's going to be really difficult, that it's really, really hard. And you're also, even with the mountain metaphor, you are once again subconsciously conceptualizing the same thing, that you're anticipating a climb up, a temporary thing. When you climb a mountain, it's a temporary climb up. Then you get to the top. And then what do? You go back down, which is easier. So again, the mountain metaphor is very common for people with a weight loss, but once again, it reveals the problem mindset. My weight master, the way I think of it is I think of it as a weight mastery path. I thought about this 30 years ago. I lost 50 pounds. I thought about the same way then, that I saw it as a never ending path, not a mountain, a path that I keep illuminating with my awareness and my strategies and my mindset improvements. And it's a path I'll walk every day of my life, always improving, always getting better, always making refinings, always optimizing, always walking the path. And it turns out that the path gets easier and easier the longer I walk it. That's my metaphor. Big different than a big mountain. So yeah, but again, it reveals the big picture of the mountain one is that, and this is all you dieters, what the mountain metaphor reveals is that the dieting and the mountain metaphor are all about the climb, the effort, the superhuman effort it takes to make the climb. And so the entire focus is on the climb, not the staying up there. And of course, a mountain metaphor wouldn't work in that sense because who the hell stays on a mountain? You climb it and you come back down. So again, dieting has fixated you on the act of losing weight, when in reality, you don't even want to lose weight. You want to live at your goal weight. The fact that you never think that should be a big problem, right? You all couldn't think about weight loss or weight any more than you do. And the fact that you've never really made the distinction that, you know what, actually, I don't want to lose weight. I want to live at my goal weight for the rest of my life on near autopilot. That's what I want. The fact that you've never even clearly articulated that should be, again, a clue that your mindset of how you're thinking about this is completely off base, from mountain metaphors to how you think about weight loss. You've been co-opted. The diet industry has poisoned your brain. It's entrapped you with a shitty mindset that keeps you stuck. The diets do not want you to lose weight for two reasons. One is it's a repeat customer business, A. Well, that's B, actually. And A, all the big diets are owned by the big food companies. Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products is owned by the same company that owns Auntie Anne's Pretzels and Cinnabon. So all these companies that you're relying on to learn how to lose weight from are kind of wolves in sheep's clothing. I don't think they're going to teach you stuff that truly is going to cause you to eat less of their shitty processed foods. So that's what I think. Because how else do you describe? I mean, geez, everyone in the world's on a diet. And at this point, the obesity and overweight rates just keep going up. In America, it's 75% of American adults are overweight or obese. You think it's because they don't know about dieting? You think they've ever tried to diet? Is that the problem? No, it's that dieting doesn't work. So, X says, I'm fasting for Ramadan and I feel good and I don't want to eat unhealthy and gain the fats back. I've not reached my goal weight, but you teach us to think like a thin person. I'll keep going. Mindset of a thin and healthy look great. Yeah, great job, X. And again, that's the best way, I think, for Ramadan outside of its spiritual implications. I think that Ramadan can be very practically used to connect to how it feels to live and eat healthier if you have, which doesn't necessarily mean that, because there's some people, it just means they eat less, but they're still eating bullshit. But if you have really taken this time to really honor your body and feel amazing, that's what I want you to connect to and tap into. And I would want to explore more of that at all the not Ramadan times to see just how amazing you could feel. All right. Tara says, can I have a cheat meal once a week and then 6 days a week for the rest of my lifetime? I think so. In Program Yourself Thin, we have clean and pleasure days. And that cleaner pleasure day concept to me is absolutely fundamental. People resist it and argue against it all the time in the beginning when they start the program, but they always kind of come around to some version of it. And there's no question in the world. Listen, your weight is a reflection of the average calorie consumption, I believe, of what you consume during a week. So I think in a week term, pretty much. So what that means is that gives me flexibility. So if I want to eat it, and I don't like the word cheat meal implies negative things subconsciously, right? Again, if we called it an adultery meal, do you feel good about that? You want your adultery meal? You know, cheat is not a word that evokes lots of good stuff. So for in the program, we call it pleasure meals. You say, oh, if I have a pleasure meal, I'd eat everything. Yeah, it's because you don't know how to eat for pleasure. You've never learned how to eat for pleasure. You think eating for pleasure means how much can I eat? You base your pleasure measurement on quantity. And in Program Yourself Thin, we base it on experience. But I 1000%, me personally, I have 2 pleasure days a week. And those pleasure days support my clean days. And so I've engineered the whole thing. The clean pleasure days work together to keep me exactly the way that I want to be at. But I think most human beings are going to need some variety in their diet. They're going to need some foods that are more fun than fuel. So I think if you're, I just had a conversation. I was doing a call a little while ago that so much of weight loss is just built in bullshit world. This idea, no, just eat, just because, and this is what every diet is so fucking goofy to me and should be goofy to you because you've done more diets than I have. And the idea that you've done keto 50 times and it hasn't worked, but the 51st time, all of a sudden you're going to do it. No, you're not. You fucking hate it. You don't like doing it. I get in this argument all the time with people. People are like, oh, my diet worked. I lost 50 pounds on keto. Okay. Well, what's your weight now? Well, I couldn't keep it up, but it worked. That didn't fucking work. That's it. It works if you have the shittiest definition of works in the world. It's like saying, oh, my car works. Well, what do you mean? Then why I need a ride? Well, it got me to work. Got me to the store. Yeah, but it didn't get you back. What's your fucking definition of working? Well, help me lose weight, but I can't stay there. And it works great. No, it doesn't work great. None of your diets work great. And all the history of dieting, there's not one diet that's risen to the top as a good diet. Not fucking one. They're all fad diets. And they're all fad diets because they just tell you what to do. They're devoid of reality. Yeah, fuck you. Go stick to your keto plan when you're in a shit mood. Let me know how it goes. I already know how it goes. You get in a shitty mood and you go and eat a bunch of carbs. Then you feel like a failure. Then you don't do keto or think about doing it for another 3-4 months till you get upset again about your weight. Then you decide to go back to keto. Oh my God. Again, I say this all the time. Dieters are the most entranced people there is. That's why it's hilarious to me when a dieter asks me if they can be hypnotized. I mean, yup, you're already hypnotized, dieters. What do you want? Is that not true? How do you explain your behavior? So yes, you can have a cheat meal, I believe, because again, it just comes down to how you structure your eating over a week. And I think if you only think of calories in a day, I think you're setting yourself up for failure. And I know people that do it and they'll argue with me and that's fine. Everyone gets to choose what they want to do. We're lucky with that. You get to choose what you want to do. But if you're tired of not being at the weight you want to live at, if you're tired of being overweight, you might want to choose to do something different than what you've done for 40 years. Is that crazy? I don't know why I'm like this. I want to be, I don't know. I need to be like nicer. Someone told me I'm too scary on these things. I don't mean to be. I'm here to help. What's up, Melancholy? Melancholy says, I've been safe in my goal weight that I share out loud, but really the number that lives inside my head is a lot lower. Is there a subconscious component telling me to ditch this safe goal? Nah, Melancholy. I know enough about Melancholy to know that you're lost in the sauce. You're so far away from a proper goal weight that you wouldn't be able to find it with a, you know, I hate to say this to you all. I'm not, again, it's not, it comes from a place of love. If something's not working, I feel like it's the kind thing to do to point it out. I just feel like with the weight loss industry, you're just constantly, your whole life have been surrounded by bullshit. And how could it not be bullshit? The results are in. It's fucking awful. Nothing is helping people lose weight. Kamani says, now we like you mean. All right, good. Because that just seems easier. I don't know. Maybe I'm a mean person. I just don't know. But I'm not trying to be mean. I just want to make that crystal clear. I am, this is just what happens. I mean, when you do the same thing day after day for decades, you tend to bypass the bullshit and get right to the point faster, I would say. And this is such an interesting area to do this in because like literally almost no one talks about it this way. And that is scary to me because there's so much money. I mean, what's the weight loss industry last I saw was a $65 billion a year industry. So, I mean, there's just so much money, so many options, so many people, so many gurus, so many things. And they're all live within the same paradigm where it's all focused on losing weight and not living at your goal weight, which I think changes. They're two totally different things. And so when you think like a dieter, you're just so gullible. So I know dieters are always in the business of beating themselves up. But if you want to beat yourself up, you know what? Beat yourself up for being gullible. How about that? Let's switch it up a little bit. You want to be mean to yourself? I know dieters. No one loves to be mean to themselves more than dieters. Okay, let's go down that path for a second. Be mean to yourself and beat yourself up today. But beat yourself up for being a gullible motherfucker who just keeps falling for the same dumb shit diets over and over and over and over. Probably the same diet too. If you're like most dieters, you're probably stuck with one main one. Maybe it's Atkins, paleo, keto-ish. Maybe it's Weight Watchers. Maybe it's calorie point counting. Maybe it's severe restriction. But I bet there's a philosophy that is your bread and butter. And I bet you have tried to use that 10, 20, 30, 100 times to lose weight and it hasn't worked. So yeah, you know what? Spend your day beating yourself up today and ease off on the, oh, I'm a bad person and I can't do this. And what's wrong with me? And let that go for today and be like, I am one gullible motherfucker. I just keep falling for the same trick over and over. Stick with that one today. See if that changes anything. Melancholy says, I prefer straight talk and tough love, so thank you. I don't want my feelings coddled. Well, very good. I coddle feelings too. That's what the person was telling me because they're in my coaching program. They say when you're coaching, you're like a totally different mode. And I don't bring that mode here because I'm not coaching. You know what I mean? When I'm coaching, I'm literally talking with someone. And so again, it's a totally different dynamic. But here it's just me in a room talking to myself, to other people through text. Anyways. Melancholy says, but I do want to learn what I need to do to get on with things. Okay, Melancholy, but have you signed up? I'm going to put you on the spot here. Have you signed up and gotten the hypnosis session and watched the video? That's the first step. So, because again, by the way, you want to measure your commitment level, you measure your action. So you can say you're committed, you're motivated, and bullshit yourself all day long. The real measurement of how committed and motivated you are comes down to what action you took. Just so you know. Karen says, you are good. The teacher guru needs to be honest with his students so that they can remain in reality. Thank you. I literally was just talking about that. Yes, reality. And weight loss reality is so different than the weight loss bullshit that people live in their heads, I would say. So when I talk like this, it can come off a little jarring, but it's Simply because most dieters, they're living in Delulu land, like literal Delulu land. I mean, it's the most fucking dieters live in the craziest world, as far as I can tell. So there's that. Tiara says, what causes food addiction? I'm addicted to coffee. I have 5 to 6 mugs of milk coffee with sugar. I can't quit it. Okay, yeah, interesting. I'm working with someone with this exact same thing. First thing I would suggest you do is you're not addicted to coffee. You're addicted to coffee milkshakes. Listen, I'm drinking coffee. You know what's in it? Hot water poured over coffee, ground coffee beans. That's it. That's coffee. How do you make a milkshake? You put cream and sugar in it. The only difference is it's not frozen, but it's a milkshake. So no, you're not addicted to coffee. You're addicted to milkshakes. And so when it comes to the addiction of milkshakes, what's the addiction? Is it the caffeine? That's probably part of it, but I can almost guarantee you the bigger part is the sugar and another part is the fat. We're addicted to salt, sugar, and fat and caffeine. But honestly, the sugar is probably the biggest, most addictive piece of that. So my first suggestion would be to start working on reducing the sugar of the 5 to 6 mugs of milkshakes you have. And that's where I would start. Now I know when you hear that, you probably think that's not enough. I either got to do it or I got to quit it completely. Because you think like most dieters think in these big, giant, sweeping, behavior decisions where they're going to dramatically change what you do, which sounds great on paper. But in reality, you'll probably find that the bigger thing you try to do, the less you're able to do it for long. So that would be my suggestion, is to reframe your coffees to coffee milkshakes, because that's more accurate, and to open your awareness up to realize that you're probably more addicted to the sugar than the caffeine. And caffeine is addictive, but I would suggest that the sugar is more addictive. Brain studies have shown that to be true. So that'd be my starting point. Why do some people eat coconut oil and also put it in their coffee? I mean, people will do anything. I mean, there's people out there living like carnivores. So, I mean, anyone can do anything. And it just goes to show you that we're very, very adaptable and influenceable. And so why someone will put coconut oil in their coffee, I'm sure they have some reason for it. It is probably mostly bullshit, but yeah, I don't know all the reasons why people put coconut oil in their coffee, but I'm sure there's some good reason. I guess people like to eat fat too. I guess, saturated fat has no impact on your cardiovascular system. I don't believe that, but I know some people do. And again, it's the information age where you thought we would have good information, but it turns out we just have never ending information and everyone can believe what they want. So it's a tough time to live and make sense of what's what. I write in Blue says, do you have any advice for emotional overeating? Yeah, I get to ask this a lot because at the end of the day, emotional eating is pretty much your weight problem in a nutshell. Because if you only ate when you needed to nourish your body and then you stopped when you were nourished, then you'd be at your natural weight. So yeah, emotional eating is an issue. And your entire life, if you've grown up in America anyways, your entire life, you've been trained to use food to manage your emotions, good or bad. And so the secret is not to stop emotional eating, but to understand it. So I think it's helpful to think in most cases, emotional eating is a symptom of a deeper problem. So let's just use the example of stress. Say I'm a stress eater. That's my particular emotion. And that's the first step, is let me understand my patterns. Because if you define yourself as an emotional eater, you're probably going to recognize that you've got a couple different emotional eating patterns. So maybe sometimes you get stressed out and you start eating. Sometimes you get depressed and you start eating. Sometimes you're celebrating and then you start eating. Okay. So we want to understand which emotion is triggering the overeating. Once we understand that, we can start to look at, let's just say stressed. I get stressed and I overeat. Well, we can look at it and say, well, when I get stressed, the food in eating is the number one strategy I have to calm my stress down. And this goes for all the emotions, because the way food typically acts is that it becomes more of a distraction than an actual genuine emotional fulfilling behavior. So for example, let's just say you're stressed out and you ate an hour and a half ago. So you're not even hungry physically, but you're stressed out, and you use eating as a way to change your focus and to reduce your stress in the moment. But let's just say instead of that, you had a coupon and you like getting massages and you went and got a massage. Which one's going to relax you more? Well, the answer is obvious. Okay. So a lot of times the emotional eating is a symptom of a deeper problem, and just stopping stress eating is just going to cause you to be a thinner, stressed person. And that's not what you want. So again, I think it's important to go to the core problem and learn how to resolve the emotional issue genuinely. That's kind of an overview. We deal with that all the time. Ghosty says, I took 3 days off. McLean days. Been going strong since New Year's. Lifestyle change. Well, good job, Ghostly. I literally just, a client I was working with, she had made a pretty dramatic change in her early day behaviors. And she did it 5 days in, 3 days made the change. 4th day didn't because it was Sunday, right back on track the next day. So to me, again, the idea of not thinking streaky like a dieter is also very helpful. And that's a whole nother topic. But great job. Again, it's not about the streaks. I think it's about more the accumulated overall effect. But anyways, nice job, Ghostly, because again, you made a nice change. And, now in Program Yourself, then we always start on day one with maintenance. Everything's about maintenance. And so again, losing weight, what you don't realize, dieters, is losing weight. What you do is you trade the excitement. You trade the excitement and the pleasure of the food. Oh shit. You trade the excitement and the pleasure of the food for the excitement and the pleasure of the scale going down. That's what you dieters do. That's why you're able to get to your goal weight and then you can't keep it off. Because once you get to your goal weight, where's your pleasure and excitement coming from now? Where? Fucking set point. Fuck your set point. Which is a thing. But by the way, your set point's primarily psychological, but that's a whole nother story. So how would you explain this to me, you dieters? Don't tell me you don't use your excitement, and the excitement of watching the scale go down is a huge motivator. And when all of a sudden you get to your goal weight and there's no more weight loss to look forward to, and now there's still no food either, how do you keep going? What are you looking forward to? What's motivating you? You think, oh, just be my goal weight. Oh, it's amazing forever. Nope. Hedonic adaptation. Look it up. It's the same thing. Like when you get a brand new TV for the first month, it's holy shit, this thing's huge. This is amazing. And then from that on, it's just your TV. Same thing happens with your weight. Hate to tell you, diet industry's convinced you this fairy tale that you're going to get your goal weight and everything's going to be absolutely amazing, happily ever after. It's better for sure for a lot of reasons. And it's the same in a lot of ways. Still going to have the same relationship stresses and health stresses and work stresses and life stresses and bullshit and sadness and happiness and all that shit's still there. And now you can't go get lost in the food. What do you think? Every time life gives you some bullshit, you're just going to go look and run on the scale and say, oh, I weigh what I want to weigh, though. It is always a nice part to be, but the number in of itself doesn't fix everything. That's again, the core bullshit you've been sold, is that the number is going to fix everything. If the number fixed everything, how would you explain to me that 95 to 98% of people that lose weight on a diet put the weight back on? How would you explain that to me? Jen says, I watch most days. I think you're passionate, not mean. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. MJ says, I've desperately needed this truth for decades. My life is changing due to your daily truth talk. Well, thank you, MJ. I really appreciate that. Appreciate that so much. I'll screenshot it. Because that's what I'm here for. Again, if you don't know, that's my mission in life, is to help as many people as possible live at their goal weight. And this is a part of that mission. I get on here every day, Monday through Friday, usually around noon Eastern, and talk about this stuff and answer it as much as I can to help you all out. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. It's funny, TikTok's quiet today. TikTok's usually the one that's popping off. Yes, X is right. You always tell us the facts, not the trends. Thank you so much, Jim. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Melancholy says, I'm afraid of hypnosis because I don't understand it. Can you help me understand what you do and why I should trust the process? Yeah, that's fair. Hypnosis has gotten a real bad rap. Again, I tend to go towards conspiratorial reasons. Because hypnosis used to be a big part of westernized medicine before chemical anesthesia. Hypnosis was the main thing they would use to anesthetize people for procedures and operations. But then they came up with chemical anesthesia and it went out the window. And so you've always known hypnosis is the goofy stage stuff, and usually, by over promising shit that it's not gonna be able to do. But hypnosis is completely natural. We're all hypnotic people. You go in and out of trance constantly each and every day. You go into a trance every single time you watch a TV show you like or a movie that you enjoy. And all it means is that you're using your imagination. Your point of reference is kind of geared inside of you, and you're having feelings based on what your imagination's doing. So the reason you like TV shows and movies is because you get to vicariously experience feelings through the characters in the show. But the hypnosis is one definition of hypnosis: you're bypassing the critical faculty to communicate with the imagination. And that's what a TV show or a movie does, right? You don't watch movies and say, oh, it's not real. That's just an actor. Someone wrote those words. That's not real. That's just an explosion. It's fake. It's just stunts. That's not real. That would never happen. That's just, you don't do that, right? You just buy into it. You say, okay, I know this is imagination. I'm going to go along with the ride. It's fun. Okay. And that experience, if you go watch a comedy, you're laughing. If you watch a drama, you're sad. If you watch a sporting event, your body literally has adrenaline flowing through it. Think about how crazy that is. You're sitting your ass on the sofa, not moving, and you're literally flooding your body with adrenaline. Why? Because you're imagining that you're one of the people playing the sport. And so you're tapping into that. And so that's the key part, that your imagination can literally create physiological effects in your body. That's profound. And so you don't have to have gone to see a hypnotist or believe in hypnosis or not. You've all experienced that. You've all watched shows and movies and felt happy or sad or on the edge of your seat. Watch a horror, you're nervous. Why? How can you be in the exact same environment, situation? You watch a comedy, you're light, laughing, happy. You watch a horror movie, you're nervous. How do you explain that to me? Because it makes no sense. You're in the same spot both times. So why would you have such completely different responses in the exact same environment? Because what's going on in your mind? So hypnosis is not what you've thought it to be. It is really the way you operate as a human. You have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. The conscious part of your mind is your prefrontal cortex. It's the logical, rational part of your brain. It is the part of your brain that knows why you should lose weight, what you should do to lose weight, and tries to get you to do it. That's where your willpower is at. This is what all the diets are aimed at, telling you what to do, what you should do, what you should get yourself to do. That's about 10% of your brain. The rest of your brain is your subconscious mind. Just a big old distinction. We'll just call it the subconscious mind. This part runs different. This part controls all your habitual thoughts, feelings, and behaviors automatically. So you can learn something, it goes into the subconscious mind, you just run it automatically. So your toothbrushing is an example of this. You didn't know how to do it when you came out the womb. You were trained to do it, and now you do it on autopilot at the same times and places every day, automatically. Well, guess what? Your eating's run by the same part of your mind. You're eating, how fast you eat, what foods you crave, when you eat, where you eat, who you eat with, how much you eat. All of this shit has been programmed into your mind without you even knowing it. Millions and millions of food ads in your life have conditioned you to crave unhealthy food, to overeat unhealthy food, and on and on. So what you try and do is you try and use this little part of your conscious brain to fight against and control the rest of your part of your brain. It's not going to work. Weight loss is not hard because you miss out on pleasure as much as it is. Weight loss is hard because you're changing an automated behavior. So if you want to know why losing weight is difficult, it could be revealed in a thought experiment. Imagine you woke up tomorrow and said, you know what? I want to use my phone with my other hand tomorrow. I'm going to use my computer mouse with my other hand. I'm going to brush my teeth with my other hand. Could you do it? Yes. But very quickly, you would be annoyed and irritated because you had to think about all these things that you usually do on autopilot. And you would find yourself getting frustrated and wanting to just go back to the normal way you do it. And this is the core reason why you struggle to lose weight, because you're changing up a lot of automated behaviors. So Program Yourself Thin is unique because hypnosis is a part of the program and a powerful one. There's hypnosis sessions that you listen to that are powerful and helpful. But the key part of the program is self-hypnosis. You hypnotizing yourself, running your own mind, because you have a hypnotic brain. And you know how you talk to yourself all day long? Do you realize that? You have an internal dialogue. Your internal dialogue when it comes to weight is extremely mean and unhelpful. It's been put there by the diet industry. You know, I know you think it's your mom, but it was mom got your, the diet industry got your mom before it got you. So you have this mean voice that you've internalized in your head, and this is your primary hypnotist controlling your weight. Thanks, Karen. And you've never learned how to run this voice. So you have this really mean, punitive, vindictive voice in your head that you're trying to use to force you to lose weight. And it always feels like a fight. It always feels like a struggle. So you need to learn how to speak to yourself in a more encouraging, supportive, effective way. And that to me is the most important piece of hypnosis, is the self-hypnosis, because we are always our own best or worst hypnotist. But the problem is you've never learned how to use hypnosis for yourself. You've never learned how to use the power of your subconscious mind to drive your weight loss and ultimate weight mastery. And you're never going to stumble upon it. I've spent 30 years obsessively focusing on this. So that's my take on it. You know, thanks, Karen. The hot peppers, love hot peppers. Although it's getting so hot, I don't know. I don't know if you ever do this. I got a heater under my desk, and I don't know if you ever have that, but sometimes that thing gets cranking, and I get so hot, and it's crazy. Hey, look at that! Nice. The thong been following you for a year, 40 pounds down. The visualizations help a lot. Yeah, great job. Of course, the visualizations help a lot. Imagining yourself being the person you want to be helps to literally create the neural connections and ultimate neural circuitry and wiring that allows you to be a thin and healthy person. You can think of visualization metaphorically, it's like going to the gym and lifting weights. The lifting weights is building stronger muscle for you. But how are you all creating stronger neural networks in your mind? How are you imprinting onto your subconscious mind the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of a thin, healthy person? You're not. You're just constantly trying to fight against your mind. Never going to work. Never going to work. You're never going to win that battle. And you'll realize, if you don't believe me, go ahead, go use your phone and your computer mouse and do it today. Do it for fucking 5 minutes and you'll see how annoying it is. Use your phone with the other hand. Use your computer mouse with the other hand. Brush your teeth with the other hand tonight. You might not even get through brushing your teeth one time because it's so annoying. And then you'll understand why dieting doesn't work. Your prefrontal cortex is the newest part of your brain evolutionarily. You're not built to micromanage every food decision you make. So, Alan says, thank you. That helps a lot. Well, I'm glad. Yeah. It's always good when I get to explain that because, again, it's a completely different paradigm of weight mastery and change work. And I think it's the most important one. So I'm glad that that was helpful to you. Yeah. Yep. Here it says, you're amazing, Jim. Can't thank you enough for changing my mindset. Yeah, you're welcome, Karen. And a screenshot of that. Nice job. Oops. Oh. Yeah. As it says, Jim, if I walked to lose 90 pounds last year, do I have to walk to lose the weight again? No, Azra, you do not. Weight loss always comes down to the calorie consumption. So you could not walk at all and just focus on your eating and lose weight. And it might be more helpful to you because you might have been walking so much that you might have set yourself up for ultimate failure. Because sometimes you say, okay, I got to walk 15,000 steps a day in order to lose weight. And then, okay, great when you're really focused and motivated and starting out, but eventually walking 15,000 steps gets really hard to keep up. But in your mind, if you connect, I got to walk 15,000 steps in order to keep the weight off. You stop walking the steps and then you start eating more. The weight starts going up. But you could stop walking and just not eat more. And you probably have to cut the calories down a little bit, although maybe not. That's a whole nother story. Constrained. I used to walk 10 miles a day, 20,000 steps. Exactly. So that's a pretty difficult thing to sustain. Let's be honest. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, you don't have to fucking walk 20,000 steps every day. When you set that's that mountain thing. Every day I got to climb a mountain every day. Eventually life, you get sick, you get bored, you get tired, you get sad, whatever. And it's hard to do that. So Karen's sister loves this shirt. I was just saying I hate this shirt, but I think I just hated it because like I said, I got myself too hot and this shirt's kind of warm, like surprisingly. And I was getting all irritated too because of the technological issues in the beginning here. What's up, Darlene? So yeah, but thanks. I appreciate that. I do kind of like this shirt. Now I like it more that I've cooled down a little bit. Karen says, I've lost weight so much slower this time, but now I know I can keep it off because I didn't rush it. Yeah, of course, Karen. That's the beauty of the slow weight loss. I know everyone wants fast weight loss. I know it, but it's like slow weight loss is the way to go. Do it once. And if it takes a little bit longer, who gives a shit? Just do it one time. Lose the weight one time and be done with it. That's my message to you all. And as releases too, huh? All right. Geez, I wasn't sure. I don't know why. I was thinking I didn't like it, but good to hear. Yeah. So again, if any of you are interested in this, go click the link in my bio, go get the hypnosis session I give you. It's free. Watch the video I made for you. It's free. Read the emails I send you. I've got the training coming up this week, how to choose the right goal weight. Again, I think a big paradigm shift. It's certainly going to help you out. Just tested out yesterday with some of my best clients, and I got really good feedback on it. So I want you to see this. It's all free. Okay. So go check it out. All right, everyone. Have a super day. I'm here usually Monday through Friday around noon Eastern. If you ever have any questions, pop on here. I'm happy to help you and answer them any way that I can. This is also a podcast. So I think that, if you miss it, you can listen to that as well. We're on again yesterday afternoon. I think I missed it. I was not on yesterday afternoon. I was on yesterday and then off. So, all right, everyone, have a super day. We'll talk soon. Bye.